same opportunities,
Absolutely.
same education as you were. Some people are always going to have it better than you. Some people are always going to have it worse than you.
Yeah.
And I think so many of us just get caught up in the me aspect of, well, that don't match my point of view. That we
Yeah.
kind of stop to think about, well, okay, why would they think that? Why does that person think that way?
And that's the
Whether
thing where we're lacking, right? As human beings, instead of being able to see the different angles and different points of view, we're so quick to just say, this is what I believe, and this is it. There is no other way to see it,
we're so curious. It's this one thing that fascinates me as a human race. We're so curious on so many aspects of wanting to understand where we're from, how things work, how we can build things, how we can do it better. But we don't ever want to curious to understand why we feel what we feel.
Yeah.
We get so caught up, and that's a comfort for us. That curiosity in most people is not, there. And for me, I kind of think that, my wife, she's that way. She's a scientist, so she questions everything. I mean,
Absolutely. I
it's
like
kind of
her.
it's one of the things I love about her.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things that I do agree with. It's
The
you got to
why.
kind of
The
the
why.
whys.
Yeah.
There's a limit. I mean, you don't want to be jerks about it. But I mean, I think there's definitely of understanding, of why somebody feels and believes what they do
Yeah.
is something that most people don't ever ask themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
You know,
me watching the riots, it was like, oh, they're hoodlums, and I was listening at, not listening, but I was watching the things that people were posting, and then when I would catch them outside, or if I would call them up and have a dialogue with them, is like, do you realize why it happened?
Mhm.
Not what you saw, but the why to it, and we're missing that point.
Yeah.
As just human beings, people that live on this earth. Why is it happening? Like, you don't just necessarily wake up one day and just say, I'm gonna start riding. I'm gonna just start a riot today. I'm gonna go downtown, I'm gonna start a riot. I'm gonna start a riot on the south side, the east side, the north side, and the west side of Chicago. I'm just gonna start a riot for no apparent reason at all. It doesn't really work that way. There's usually, like I said, the brush fire effect, right? There's something that sparks that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, the recent one where I think the young man was killed or whatever, and these people plan to come downtown and do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit different. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
the full specs to that situation, but from the outside looking in, it's like, come on now, y'all just bullshitting
Mm-hmm.
with that type of situation. But I don't know the full specs of it, so I kind of, when I saw it, and it was like, well, they planned on doing it, and I was just like, well, until I know better about that situation, I'll stay out of it. But the George Floyd, there's an understanding that, again, I told someone this the other day. If you go back and you look over the last, 7 years, you will see that the police have killed over 400 to 500 people, right? And in certain countries, that's more deaths than they have in a year. It's into a certain part, it quadruples or whatever it does. It's a sextuplet of what certain countries do, which is a heinous act in itself against mankind. And it's something that lets us know that there are things we're missing as people in America, where training has eluded people, or it hasn't been set up. There isn't a system in place to make sure that accountability, right, is in place to make sure things like this doesn't happen. Are these guys being given psych classes? Instead of them being a cop in 6 months, how come they aren't being a cop within 2 to 3 years? If it takes someone 2 years to become a cosmetologist or get a degree in anything, it should be the same thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a prerequisite for them. So these are situations, man, it's sad to see. In my lifetime, I've seen it more than once.